Hello everyone, I'm Meriem. I will present to you today some Git tips and tricks I will show you, some advanced commands. So let's get started. My name is Meriem. I'm a front-end developer here in Morocco in a company called Anapl, a consulting company. And I'm very happy here to be in FOSSCOMM conference. I hope all of you will enjoy it. Before we start, I just want to ask some questions, and you will play in the comments. If you are using Git in your daily job, just raise a hand or say me, so we can start from there. So this is an overview of what we are covering here in this talk. So we are discussing some of Git world. GitHub and its UIs, some tips to get along, the main subject of our talk today, and getting help. This is very important part, and at least get started. Well, before we start, GitHub is not Git, so when we are talking about GitHub, it's a different thing. It's a platform when we arrange all our repositories and our work. And when we are talking about Git, it's another thing. What is Git? Git, as many of you know, it's a version control system for tracking changes in computer files. So once we install it in our system, we can initiate a Git repository with Git in it. Who is Git? Well, Git, it was written by Linus Torvalds. As many of you know, Linus Torvalds, it was the one who launched the development of the Linux kernel in 2005. Git is an open source. It's used by a lot of people all over the world, by large communities of developers and software engineers. Why we are using Git? Git is a tool that helps us record snapshots of records we make. So if you break something up, you can go back and fix it with Git. So I'm giving here an example. So taking the example of Thanos. So and the way he used his power stones to snap half of the world back in the Avengers. So as you know in the movie, so he used his snap like this to erase half of the world, and then other heroes that we will call Git comments came back and they rescued everything. So why is GitHub? First of all, so it's a web-based interface. It's a UI that uses Git, the open source control software that lets a lot of people make changes at the same time in the web page and their applications. Let's move to some tips to get along with Git, and we will start with a command that I use personally a lot. It's Git Keep. Git Keep. If you know what is Git Keep, just raise a hand. If not, I will explain more about it during this presentation. So how we can use Git Keep or the .Git Keep. So first of all, we can create a folder with the mk directory, making the directory comment. We move into the folder with the cd. Then we we initiate a file with Git Keep, with touch Git Keep. We create a file. Then we use a small git add to update our Git index. Then we use the Git commits to commit our changes, and we push the empty Git folder to remote Git repositories. As we know, we cannot update our local projects in the remote Git repository if it is empty. So that's why we use Git Keep, just to keep track of everything. And then we can make changes by the time and initiate other files in our local repository. So when we create our folder which is empty and with the Git Keep in it, we can commit it and add it to staging, and we can see our local repository then in the remote one. So that's how we use it. The commands I mentioned in the previous screen. So we initiate an empty directory. We move into our directory. We create a Git Keep file. Then we add and commit with the simple message, commit empty folder with Git in Git with Git Keep, and then we push our changes with the Git push origin. Well, the next one will be performing a shallow Git clone. What is performing a shallow Git clone? So when we need to clone a specific part of a project to local, or when we post it and we need to use just a specific branch or a specific commit from the distant repository, we use Git Clone --dev and then the name of our repository. So the shallow Git clone makes it easier to search the recent Gits, as I said here, to Git history and troubleshoot problems. Only the Git branch we are interested in, we clone it, and the long history of unneeded commits is not downloaded. That's very obvious because we are interested in a very specific part of the repository. The disk space used by the shallow Git clone is minimal. That's a very important part because when we clone a whole project and then we create our branch in local and then we start working in it, it's not very optimistic. So using the shallow Git clone makes it very optimistic regarding the disk space we are in. And the last thing, shallow Git clones runs faster than a normal Git clone. So when we clone a repository in our machine, normally it takes time because it's big and it costs lots of time. And in parallel, when talking about time, we're talking about disk space and the storage. So, well, the other thing or the other tips that I'll be talking about is the Git stash remerge conflict. We all have this problem when we're talking about Git stash. How we gonna use it? So first we init a Git repository. Then we create a file with the touch command. With the touch command to create a file. Then we add this file. We use the git add dots to add it. Then we commit. What's gonna happen next? We create a line in our file. Here I used an HTML5. I will use the echo command to push it in the file. Then we stash it. then we push another change in the same file. Then we commit with the message. So what's happening here? When we stash this, when we use a git stash pop, the git cannot merge the two versions, because here we have two different messages. We have hello world and goodbye world. It's two different messages. One was stashed, was kept in backstage, and then we have another one. But for Git, the same file contains two changes that needs to be committed differently. So here we have a merge conflict. So we will talk here about some advanced Git add that we can use. Sometimes we can get carried away to the point that we realize we have way more changes in a file than makes sense to commit together. So I recently learned that you can use git add-p to selectively organize your commits. And speaking of that p flag, so it can also be used with git stash when you don't want to stash all the files to the entirety of one file with changes. So when running a git stash -p, you will see a similar interactive screen as git add -p. Another tip that helped me get along with Git, so it's autocorrect. We all might make typos when we are sending messages in our daily life, when we are in a rush and we want to commit faster or use some Git commands really faster because we need to move to something else. There is a tip that I learned recently that's very useful. It's Git autocorrect. So what is this Git autocorrect? It's like a small package that you install in your system, and then when you type wrong some commands, it will tell you that it's not the right command. For example, here I want to do a git commit, and I forgot to type the O. So what Git is telling me in the command line that it's not a git command. Maybe we can see the git help, or it suggests you to correct it with the right one. So he tells you that you mean the commit. Then the other one is the Git rebase. I call it the rebase of C. I guess a lot of us have a problem with Git rebase. So using Git rebase is a very valuable command, but sometimes you accidentally read away comments and start swearing, or maybe that's just me or just some of us. So Git reflog to the rescue. Git reflog to the rescue. As long as you primarily work, it still lives in your local working copy. Using Git reflog, you can find the hash that you need something from, then run git checkout that hash. By the hash, I mean the code of the commit we have for the number of the commits that you need something from, then copy what you need, and then you can run git checkout to head to return to the most recent commits in the branch. No more blaming. When we talk about blaming, we talk about the git blame. When there is a bug, you can figure it out. Sometimes you want or you need to reach out to the person who wrote that code first, and that don't appear to be working. So you run a git blame, which will show each line's last commit change and who changed it. So that sounds cool, but running git blame just doesn't feel very nice. So here are some good news. You can change the alias using the git command. This one, the git config -- global alias to investigate, then blame. So you can change investigate to whatever word you would like. Needing help? Yes, we all the time need help. We always dig into Stack Overflow or Google to search for specific command. But then we realize we have something called -help in Git. So we can use. I use this name from the Troll movie because I find it very funny. We can use Git help or Git help tutorial. So why using Git help is very useful. So we are amazed by how quickly we forget about the built-in help tools within a number of applications and the CLI, but we tried an endless number of Stack Overflow questions to solve the problem, and finally we have the Git help. You essentially have all the Git documentation at your fingertips. So if you're completely new to Git or just want a nice refresher, you can run Git help tutorial, which will run you through all the basics. So finally, if you want to get documentation for a specific command, you can run, for example, the manual of GitLog if you want to know more about the GitLab command. So finally, and not finally, wrapping up. So there you have it. I hope you at least came across something new that you didn't know before, or refreshed your memory about a command you may have forgotten about. Git is amazingly powerful, and we should make the most of it. So if any of you have questions, I'll be happy to answer them in the comment section. And that's it for me. If you want to reach out, I mentioned my Twitter here, so you can reach me out on Twitter, and I will share with you also my email if you have any further questions. Thank you.